Well, that was some episode of AEW Dynamite. Last night's. so, so I saw Dynamite. I saw a lot of the backlash on social media. And yeah, give my thoughts on what went down. All in. We have more matches confirmed for Wembley, for All In. Go over my thoughts on the matches, the card. It seems like now CM Punk and Samoa Joe, that is a match that is going to be set. Shortly, I assume on Collision, if not next week. But yeah, aye. Well, before I get into the review, I'll talk about the card and the just not needing to happen death match that was on Dynamite. I mean, crazy. But okay, so I understand. Here's my thoughts first about the card for Wembley. The build, okay. This is set to be EW's biggest show of the year or ever. Beforehand, their largest show did only 20,000 fans in Grand Slam. This is a huge jump. 80,000 plus in Wembley on the 27th. It's absolutely going to be the big show. Now, the build absolutely lacked. We know. It did lack. I mean, if there was because if you just looked at the card, top to bottom, it looks like a good card, a very good card. But with the lack of build towards the card, it's obviously concerning and rightly so, annoying to some. And that's what sucks about AEW and WWE really need to fix how they do pay-per-views. I mean, because there's many times when most of the card will be finalized in 2 weeks or 1 week before the show. And it's just like not great for those in attendance or those. Now, some of the matches I'll go over in a sec do have a key amount of build. I mean, MJF, Adam Cole, the main event, which was booked weeks ago, that's been big build. Bucks and FTR, there's history. You know, match was made last week. Okay. But as far as the rest of the card, it's so. And, okay, let's just go down the card. Just give thoughts and give clarity, because obviously Wednesday's Dynamite got a lot of backlash. So, Bucks FTR, okay. The 4-way women's match, we could kind of tell where it was leading. And how people are, again, going to a couple weeks ago about the old stuff about the women. This whole build to this 4-way didn't help. That's all I'll say. Coffin match, Darby and Singh versus Swerve and Fox. Okay, you can kind of get behind that. Because of what's been going on the last couple weeks. Basically, you get my point. I'll go over the rest, but I think we all get it. The card looks good. It's just the build and how a bunch of matches were thrown together last night. Took the wind out of people's sails. And yeah. That's all I'll say. As far as that. The other big talking point that really got people down in the dumps about Dynamite was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre death match that was between Jeff Jarrett and Jeff Hardy, which was a cluster funk of just like madness. You know, too many guys. I mean, just like Singh, Ethan Page, Brothers A, Matt Hardy. I mean, Sanjay. It felt like a cluster of match. I mean, probably. Now, they got a sponsorship for last night's show. So perhaps the sponsor asked them to do this match. You know, I'm guessing there's a new video game out. If not, the other one's not been released yet. But you get my point. And, you know, maybe this was out of Tony Khan's hand having this match, and, you know, having a guy dressed like Leatherface to chase off Karen Jarrett. I mean, it just wasn't a good look. Now, if there was a sponsorship and it was out of Tony Khan's hands, I get that. But it just, the show was being a decent show. Decent to good show. And then that match happened. Excuse me. Took the wind out of people's sails. And, you know, I saw the Bucks and the Guns saw her come, and we're like, okay, can at least end this on a good note. And it was rushed because, yeah, I mean, if the deathmatch was at least cut down and, you know, because he had so Britt versus the Bunny, you had the Acclaimed, and you had the Bucks vs. Guns main event, which felt kind of rushed. I mean, it was what, like 7:50? You know, when I mean, it's like they could use 5 to 10 more minutes, and that would have been very fine. I mean, it's weird how Collision really gives time for their main events, but Dynamite, they just put too much together, and yeah, it sucks. That deathmatch really killed the vibe of the show, and I feel bad. But alas, we'll go over the car and go over Dynamite and see how it goes. But yeah. But yeah, guys, thank you for joining me nonetheless. If you're new, you know, subscribe, notification bell, all that. It's open, so yeah. But alas, here for the review. Even though I'm like, especially when you see the, I mean, it's like after seeing Dynamite, you see the backlash, and it's like, damn, that was not right. Not right. But yeah, it was, yeah. So, let's get going with the review. So, Orange Cassidy, because he took the week off, had to start the show again. You knew when Orange Cassidy title match was announced that it was going to start the show. Versus Will Yuta, this was decent. But I mean, honestly, it just feels like too much repetition with Orange Cassidy. He starts the show, it's a good match, but I mean, it's to the point where I'm just like, I am a bit fatigued of Orange Cassidy, if I'm being honest. I mean, he's great. The gimmick, take it or leave it. He's a solid wrestler, but I mean, it's to the point where I would like Orange Cassidy to lose that title already and, take a break from TV. I would rather he and the best friends go after trio titles, if I'm being honest. But yeah, this match is decent. BCC, Lucha Brothers, and Best Friends have all been kind of feuding the last month or so. So this match tied into it here. But was a solid match as you expect two former mates with the Best Friends or former allies. Yeah. 1 second. Pull up my notes. Hey. So, Yuta had the advantage. I will say it's weird. I'm not sure if it's his crowd, but I mean, honestly, when Yuta made his entrance, I was like, what was that reaction? And that wasn't the only time we thought that. So, yeah, Yuta has Susie on the outside and then follow his suplex. He was working over Orange Cassidy's. Feels like every time you see him now, he's taped up, has his hand wrapped, all that. So, the closest Yuta got, he had a superplex, followed with a diving splash off the top for a 2. Cassidy's wheelbarrow DT. Claudio and Moxley showed up. Cassidy then looked at Moxley, went for the Superman punch, and then his version of a paradigm shift looked okay. So Yuta locked in the seatbelt, but Cassidy kicked out at the last minute, last second. But Cassidy rolled up Yuta with his hands in his pockets. 1, 2, 3. That's the best timing of the hands in the pockets when it comes to a roll up like that for the win. And once again, Orange Cassidy retains. So there you go. Afterwards, the BCC were right for the attack. So there was that. Best friends made their way out for the save, but only for a bit as they were outnumbered. Then the Lucha Brothers came out and even things up a bit, and then we saw the Mad King, A. Kingston, who's been in Japan for the G1. Unfortunately, he lost to David Finlay for the C Block final, I believe. But yeah. But alas, saw weeks ago he beat Kenta for the New Japan Strong Openweight Championship. So he currently holds that, I think. I'm not sure. Anyway, so Eddie Kingston's back. He obviously had a collision with Claudio on the rampway, and there's a brawl among 10 back in the ring ensemble. And so A. Kingston got a microphone. He's like, turn this mic on. And A. Kingston called out the Blackpool Combat Club, saying, us versus you guys. Hey guys, you want Wembley Stadium Stampede. So apparently it's going to be 6-on-6. 12-man matchup. Last time it's been 2 years since Stadium Stampede? Last it was the Pinnacle versus the Inner Circle. That was at Double or Nothing 2021. The Stadium Stampede matches were fun for Jacksonville and during the pandemic era of AEW. Now, okay, so it's a huge stadium, we know that. But I'm curious, this is Exhibit A. As the people, when it comes to the feud, yes, we get, the Blackpool Comedy Club, Lucha Brothers, best friends have all been at each other's throats the last month. So I get that. But yeah, it's 12-man in the matchup. Same Stampede. Apparently, Blackpool Combat Club, you have to find 3 partners I mean, well, the way it looks, it's interesting because you have. It's totally possible that Brian makes his return at Wembley, you know, for him to be included but not have to do too much. And maybe they do a tag team, but then who? You know, mind games, head games. I'm just spitballing here, but it's been what, over a year since Santana got hurt in Blood and Guts last year. We know how close Eddie Kingston and Santana Ortiz were. Or what if Ryan, Santana Ortiz are three partners for the Blackpool Combat Club? They fit in the mold a little bit, I guess. It's thought. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, that's part A as to people's gripe to the feud or the card. But I am glad to see Ed Kingston and the Lucha Brothers again back on TV. We'll say that. So that was first clunky. Next, so Kenny Omega indeed said he was going to have a sit down with JR to discuss his future and with the whole plans for Wembley, Takeshita and Callis. He was obviously distraught, talking about Callis, talking about him being like an uncle, talking about times they've been through together and how he and Takeshita have history. They showed a match from DT of a younger Kenny Omega versus a young Konosuke Takeshita. And said he saw much of him in Takeshita. And he's sure that Callis sees the same for his new cash cow. JR says he replaced you. And Kenny can see through his thinking, with a younger, stronger, version perhaps of Omega. Blade plans to take out this cash cow replacement of him, Callis. So they were sitting down it looked like in Daly's place in a so they were in Daly's place, a empty Daly's place. So it looked like pre-tape during the day. So all of a sudden, Don Callis is there, and he's chirping at Omega and JR, and yeah, so Kenny got about to leave, and then all of a sudden we see Bullet Club Gold, Jay White, Juice Robinson attack K Omega and Takeshita. They have him cornered. Now, there were rumors that it was going to be Omega, Hangman, and Ibushi to take on Jay White, Juice Robinson, and Takeshita in a trios match at Wembley. This only confirmed it. So they attacked Omega, and JR was just looked on and almost like a depressing way, because like he couldn't do anything, or it was just like, yeah, screw this BS, or I don't know. So then they cut to Hangman Page supposedly outside of the hospital, and here's more outside of an ambulance. And he talked about, well, you know, talked about finishing job, and now Kenny's not, it looks like it, but he's not finished. But Kenny still has friends, and two of his best friends, two of his tag team partners will be at side at Wembley to face Jay White, Juice Robinson, and Takeshita. And Hangman was holding a beverage, and some guy was like, sir, this is a hospital, you can't drink here. So then he downed it and then gave it to him to throw out. And then it looked like he got emotional. So, now here's the thing. We know CM Punk is straight edge. We know that. And Hangman, he had that gimmick where he loved to drink. And, you know, the drinking cowboy, pretty much. Kicking ass, drinking, and going home. I mean, there was that mean great spot where Hangman comes out, he gives Matt his beer, hits the buckshot lariat, takes it from him, and leaves. You always think that, but maybe a subtlety, because since CM Punk talked about Hangman after, maybe that's a little tease. Hangman going back in drinking gimmick, I don't know, but that's a thought. maybe Kenny and the Elites are going to start feuding with the Bullet Club Gold after Wembley. If this is what that means, or this match means, then okay. Maybe Wembley is not a resolution of feuds, but more the beginning. Maybe that's a lot. We'll see. We know Jay and Omega have history. Jay and Hangman have history. Same with Juice. I mean, thoughts there. Bucks did face the Guns in the main event. So, I mean, who knows? We'll see. But, I mean, it looks like it'll be a good match. It's just like, I get it, the build. I will say real quick, so this whole week for AEW is Fight for the Fallen week. So Dynamite, Rampage, Collision. For those who watch my sports overview topics videos where I go over sports news, I talked about a little on the recent one about the Maui wildfires and how, just unfortunate. It's a good place to be, vacation. Only been there once, but enjoy the water, enjoy the food while I was there. I mean, it was a really good experience. AEW, biggest positive you have is they announced that all the proceeds from Dynamite, and I think maybe Collision, we'll see, but nonetheless, at least from Dynamite, all the proceeds will go to Maui Food Bank. So, to support in these wildfires. So, there you go. That's maybe positive that's come out of that. So yeah, go on AEW. So next we had Don Callis again. So he was out there to discuss and talk to Chris Jericho about joining his family. Because Jericho said he was going to give him his answer for this week. So Jericho was out there, and there was like a big painting on the other side of the ring. This was probably the best thing on last night's show. I think we can argue. So, Callis and Jericho are out there, and Callis apologized for what JS did to him. So, anyway, so Callis and Jericho going over, Jericho spoke about the events of last week, knowing how made him reevaluate and say he may need to change things, and that, talked about his family and said, well, Jericho doesn't join factions, he makes them. So he thought about it long and hard, and he said, well, my answer is yes. I'm going to join the Don Callis family, saying he needs to join someone as sinister and selfish as him to get back to the AEW World Championship. They embraced for a hug and said, Callis, let's not waste too much time. So let's go to the bar, let's drink. Let's beat people up like old time's sake. So they were about to leave, and Jericho noticed the big painting set up in the ring. So he's like, whoa. What's that? So Callis is like, well, it's another picture of us in Bad News. So it's like, what's your address or whatever, so I can mail you pictures. Like, no, I want to see it. So Callis like eager to move on, and so after bickering, they unveiled the painting, which was Callis holding picture of Don Callis holding up, homage to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Don Callis holding Jericho's head. So Jericho's like, whoa. Do you think I was going to say no? He's like, whoa, you're going to, have me killed for storyline sake or whichever. So Callis was like, yeah, I wasn't sure you were going to join me, saying you don't deserve to be part of my family. Jericho was like, who the hell is Don Callis? He hasn't been relevant since 2019. And now, because we're friends, now that I brought you here, now you're as relevant as you've ever been, but not as relevant as me. So Callis slapped Jericho. They got into it. Next thing you know, Takesha's out there with a chair. And Jericho stops him, beat down in the corner. And all of a sudden we see a figure attack Jericho. Oh, dang. That's not a rumor may happen. Will Ospreay, the aerial assassin, Mr. Kingpin himself, attacked Chris Jericho and wiped him over the head with a chair, which was probably approved by management, had to. And then Ospreay and Takesha, they held up Jericho, who got his head smashed by the painting. Callis, I think it made a dent. I don't think any of there's no glass that flew everywhere or not, just made a thud. So Sammy Guevara tried out there with a bat. Floyd chased off Callis, Takesha, and Ospreay, and they were celebrating as they were walking away. And Jericho was a bloody mess. So there was that. So Jericho is now a babyface again. That's Sammy Guevara, like he said, if you change your ways, maybe I'll be there. Well, Guevara was technically there for Jericho. There's that. And Chris Jericho versus Will Ospreay at Wembley was another rumor. And confirmed last night. Now, we know, first of all, TDI tests, this is a interesting match. Not necessarily a jaw-dropping great match. I mean, we know Jericho is limited. He's not who he used to be. Ospreay's still very much in his prime. You know, if not, he's entered it. But the match, how it's going to unfold and whatnot, you know, I commented on one of Ospreay's posts. He made it on social media the other day saying I would be I think everybody would have been disappointed if the English kid or did not make an appearance for Wembley. I mean, it's right there. He said the date's free and 80,000 fans. I mean, now against Jericho, Tony Khan and others probably think it's good TI test. And Jericho mentioned later that if there wasn't a lockdown in Japan, the match would have happened 2 years ago. Well, now it's going to happen in Wembley. You know, you see, Jericho is more methodical these days. It's just how he is. You know, he can still produce a great match, very good match with the right opponent. I mean, last year he had some very good matches with Bryan Danielson. So, I mean, Ospreay, it's capable of being a good match, but, I mean, people are going to be disappointed, but I would rather have Ospreay on the card than not. And if this is what they have for Ospreay, because I mean, you know, I understand not doing it at Wembley simply because Omega versus Ospreay again. But I mean, Ay. Anyways, so should probably be a good match. It's just expectations probably, you disappointing to some. But I hope it's a good match. Hope it's, it won't steal the show or anything like that. But as long as it's a solid match, then certainly for it. Jack Perry, he had a little backstage video saying that next week he plans to retire the FTW Championship. First of all, great. Because the FTW title, I can tell people are just like shaking their heads about so many titles on AEW. Well, first of all, it wasn't a recognized title in the first place. But apparently they're going to retire it. Maybe maybe Hook returns next week. Sets up Hook versus Jack Perry. They have this match, and Hook wins at Wembley and retires the title. And Hook is the final champion of final FTW champion. Because, I'm sure they wouldn't want Jack Perry to be the last. If they have to retire it, then yeah. Hook being the final FTW champion, that'd be a lukewarm moment. Certainly. Next up, Darby Allin Nick Wayne for Gates of Agony. This was a decent match, Obviously, Darby and is a part of that coffin match with Swerve and AR Fox at Wembley with Sting as partner. Nick Wayne looking for a little bit of revenge after what happened to him at his house a couple weeks ago. So, Gates of Agony jumped Darby and Nick Wayne before the bell. But they turn around. Wayne in a suicida. Then, after being beat down for a portion of the match, made the hot tag to Darby. Hit a cannonball tope to the outside on Toa. He got up behind Khan for a crucifix, and Wayne hit a super kick on Khan, while Darby hit a crucifix bomb for a near fall. Khan and Toa got the advantage back, hit a backbreaker splash combination out of the corner for a 2. Darby and Wayne got the finish here. So, Wayne hit Wayne's World, his springboard cutter, which, I mean, just me, but I think I'm singing a bit too much. You know, it's like, okay, so we got the Cody Cutter, we got the Os Cutter by Osprey. Now we got Wayne's World. Yeah. So, anyways, Wayne hit Wayne's World on Khan. Darby had a coffin drop while Wayne hit the moonsault on Toa. Keep it on the outside. 1, 2, 3, and Darby and Wayne get the win. Swerve and Fox, they were near ringside with weapons, and they went for the attack on Darby and Wayne after. And then was interesting. So Prince Nana, who is like one of the big mouthpieces of the Mogul Embassy, he was not present. And we found out why. So Sting was on the big screen. Said that Fox needs to have eyes in the back of his head 24/7. Because they have a coffin match in 9 days. It's actually now 10 days. But apparently now he's a director. And he's a leading man. So, excuse me. So he was patting someone on the lap who was very unhappy. Prince Nana. He apparently had kidnapped Prince Nana. So Joker Sting right next to Prince Nana. And Nana was like, it's actually 11 days, sir. So he's like, what do you want? So then Morgan's embassy made their way to the back, tried to save Prince Nana. And then Joker Sting in his Joker impression was like, it's showtime. And then scared off Nana. Sting was like, nah, 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 nah. Hey, hey, hey. Goodbye. Same. They had a good conversation. That was fun. You know, I miss Joker Sting from TNA. That was great. You know, yeah. That was fun. Now seeing glimpse here. Coffin match should be fun between the four. This is definitely the biggest stakes for Swerve and Fox. So see how they perform in those 80,000. See, the great thing, if there's one positive for this these lack of build matches and this card, it's one positive is that the fact is, in front of 80,000, your big crowd getting as much people as you can, because you never know if they're going to have a show again this large. So, I mean, I get it in that perspective. And you want your eyes on as many wrestlers, I guess, as possible for these fans. So, next up, MJF and Adam Cole. Definitely having the most story. Well, their match and their feud definitely has the most story of any on the show. Can't dispute that. So we had another little bonding segment between the Fold, and this was funny. So since they're going to wrestle 0 hour before their world title match in Wembley, against Aussie Open, they had come up with a game plan, try to get ready to beat up or how to beat Aussie Open. This was great. Again, arguably the best part about Dynamite. So they were outside of an Outback Steakhouse. And Cole suggested that they watch Crocodile Dundee to get ready to face Aussie Open. So they in a backstage somewhere wearing these hats. There's a toy crocodile. Actually, before that, so MJF showed Adam Cole a video on his phone of two kangaroos fighting and trying to bring up this kangaroo kick. So then we get to they were backstage and there was a toy alligator and some schmuck that was trying to clean the floors of backstage AEW. And MJF and Adam Cole, they wailed on this guy with a double clothesline. Water stuff spilled, and they were celebrating. And then Tony Khan announced, "You two, my office now." You know, another gripe over this weekend was the fact that Tony Khan has been a pushover boss. This feud or this segment was kind of like them poking fun of like, okay, he's a pushover. So this is Tony Khan going off on MJF and Cole saying, "You guys think it's funny to double clothesline anybody, anytime, anywhere? Well, no, you can't. So keep the double clothesline in the ring. MJF and Adam Cole. And he was just like, okay. So they left Tony Khan's office. And I'm just like, he's going to regret that in 2024. And then Tony Khan was right behind. He was like, what was that? He's like, nothing. And they fist bumped. They're like, thank you guys for what you do. Yeah, it was quite funny. So then later, they were out to the ring. Bit from good. So Cole talked about his journey getting back to where he is. You know, how 9 months ago, doctor said he may never wrestle again. And his dream may once again be taken away. But now he's going to be in the main event of the big show for AEW, fighting for the biggest prize in the AEW World Championship. So MJF was like, that's a cute story. Mine is better. So he talked about his old car, saying he put 90,000 miles on it because he busted his ass to get where he is today. Said that, you know, all in 2018, well, he had 2 wrestlers on his mind for dream opponents. Cody Rhodes and Adam Cole. So in 2018, you know, he took a chance, talked about the Elite and Cody coming up with the idea of All In, the original one in 2018, changed the wrestling landscape. So he DM'd Cody asking for an opportunity, and he opened the show for All In, if you remember that, in 2018. And now, considering how he's busted his ass now, come 5 years later, he's now in the main event from the largest crowd in AEW, defending the world title. Knowing how the title means everything to him. And Cole said he'll do anything, and he means anything to win it. So it's going to be one hell of a match. So MJF did his chant saying, because I am Maxwell Jacob Freeman and I'm better than you, and you know it. So Adam Cole did his chant saying, I think the new champion will be Adam Cole, baby. So then they shook hands, and then all of a sudden, Aussie Open, they trot out and attack their opponents for Wembley 0 Hour, trying to gain the upper hand on their opponents, MJF and Adam Cole. So there was the attack, but MJF and Cole then went for the double clothesline. Dave stuck, and then Kyle Fletcher left. So then, while MJF was celebrating, we see Adam Cole. He looked like he was setting up MJF for a super kick. And then MJF turned around and was like, nope, nothing. There was that. So we saw Roddy, who kicked Adam Cole's car, got injured. He was in a wheelchair. He was in a wheelchair being supported by the Kingdom. Again, a lot of variables to this. How is 0 Hour going to turn out? Who's going to mess up who? Who's going to end the friendship? What's the Kingdom and Roddy's, their involvement? How is it all going to fare? We'll see. Well, yeah, it's going to be fun. How do they top the original match? I'm not sure, but we'll see. Renee Paquette. She was backstage and the trainer's room with Chris Jericho, who's getting cleaned up. So she asked him about Don Callis and Will Ospreay, and Jericho replied, well, if you want a match with me, all you had to do was ask. You didn't have to do this, Ospreay. And that 2 years ago, this match would have happened if there wasn't a lockdown in Japan. But it's going to take a lot more than a worldwide pandemic to stop them for this match going to happen. Saying you don't know what you're dealing with and you haven't faced anybody like me. So at Wembley, Jericho versus Ospreay. The Ocho is ready for you. Pretty much. Like I said, I don't have doubts it's going to be a good quality match. But as far as a Will Ospreay match, it will feel different. Probably not up to standards, but it should still be a good match. I bet at Wembley. And, this, Callis was in see, it's weird. Ospreay is feuding with, or Jericho is feuding with Callis, and so is Omega. Now, it does kind of make sense that Ospreay had Callis in his corner at Forbidden Door. Now we're getting this match. I mean, we'll see. And we'll probably get Jericho versus Takeshita down the line. in this whole feud. Maybe we get a tag team match out of the 4 down the line, if I had to guess. Oh boy. Now we get to the worst part, or should I say, the part that had most people buzzing about last night. I mean, yep, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre deathmatch. Jeff Jarrett for Jeff Hardy. Now, saw a report that all the money they got for the sponsorship for the game, allegedly, or this match, they also is like $100,000 sponsorship, allegedly, they received, and it was donated to the Maui Food Bank as well. So yeah. One positive, but this match was a train wreck. So, they started in the back. I don't know what. Jeff Hardy went searching for Jeff Jarrett. Tried to make it spooky because, the game. There was a bunch of weapons on a wall. Jarrett ambushed him. This guy I had hurry. I mean, there was Karen, there was Satnam Singh, there was Matt Hardy, Ethan Page, Brother Zay. I mean, go over it as quickly as I can. So, they're out towards the ring anyways now. So, Hardy hit a swanton on Jarrett through a table, but was broken up. Lethal. So, guy dressed up as Leatherface chased off Karen Jarrett and Jay Dutt. So, next thing though, Hardy had the advantage. Jay Lethal had this hammer, clocked it in the back of Jeff Hardy's head. Satnam Singh landed a big chokeslam and draped Jeff Jarrett's unconscious body over Hardy for the win. Apparently, they gave him a title with Leatherface face on it, and there was that. End of story. Okay. Done with that. Okay. Next, we got Britt Baker versus Bunny. Oh boy, we didn't know who's going to win this match. Final match to determine who would be in the 4-way women's title match at Wembley. So, show match here anyways. So Britt landed a stomp. She landed a thrust kick and a curb stomp on Bunny. 1, 2, 3. And Yeah, Britt Baker wins. No surprise. Now, question is a weird question. Who wins the four-way? Because many people are throwing around because Saraya is from the UK. Do they put the towel on her for a feel-good moment? When really she has... It's sad, but she hasn't really done much since coming over to AEW. Just fact. They just put the towel on Cheetah. So it feel like, well, the unfortunate thing is Jamie Hayter is hurt. And she had a good amount of momentum. So yeah, it sucks that Jamie Hayter is hurt. And, I could see it, boy, I could see Sheer winning. I could also see Britt winning. The simple fact of, okay, Britt wins. She becomes that, bitchy character again. And the feud, she goes on this reign, gets her momentum back, and then the feud with Jamie Hayter is ripe for the taking when she comes back. There's thought, but I mostly see Shida retaining or Britt. That's just my thinking. But we don't know how long Jamie Hayter is going to be out. That's the weird part. The Acclaimed. They were out there with about to face some jobber tag team, and then they got ambushed by the House of Black, who took Billy Gunn's boots from them. So yeah. So yeah. They took the boots that Billy Gunn gave the Acclaimed. So there's... So they feud with Andrade for his mask. And I'm not sure if that feud is still going on. Maybe we get... Because if Andrade's continuing to feud with the House, he needs backup. So I mean, maybe the Acclaimed and Andrade, I'm not sure. But it's certainly a thought. I don't know. Then main event. I was pumped for this match. But considering how much time was left, I mean, it's unfortunate with what happened prior. This match didn't have enough time. The Guns vs. the Bucks main event, and again, more because Bullet Club Gold attacked Omega earlier, or in that pre-taped from Daly's place. Then we get here the main event. So was fine. So Guns have a great entrance, arguably the best, with that spotlight and stuff. And then as they were doing the guns and then the water shots, you see Nick Jackson, the Bucks, or Nick and Matt Jackson. They're out there, so right away they attacked, probably because short on time. So they attacked the guns right away, and then it's melee rest away. So again, this match is fine. Finally, the match started once they got in the ring. Chobei by the Bucks. Colin hit a nice drop kick for a near fall. After getting beaten down, Matt made the hot tag to Nick, ran rough shot. His moonsault face buster combination. He hit a super kick, and then a soccer kick to Asa on the outside. Colton, he broke things up with a double clothesline on the Bucks. Matt had a roll up for a 2 count. Guns hit a weird looking 310 to Yuma for a near fall, broken up by back stomp by Nick. So, how they beat FTR? Funny thing. So, Austin rolled up Matt Jackson and tried to get leverage from Colton, but Colton got caught with a super kick by Nick. Matt turned the tide, rolled things up on Austin with leverage from Nick, and they got the victory. I mean, it was fine for what it was given, but yeah, I think 5 to 10 more minutes. And then there was attack by the Rust Ball Club, and then FTR made the save. And then we had to start off with the All-In Wembley thing in the background. Yeah, more time for the... the death match really corrupted the time they had for the second hour. I mean, yeah. It didn't flow well. But I imagine Collision will be good. And that, Samoa Joe, CM Punk, that thing going on. Ricky Starks, we'll see. But yeah. Nonetheless, it wasn't a terrible show. Obviously, the deathmatch had left a bad taste in people's mouths. But there were good things, the segments, the tag matches on the show I thought were fine. The open match was fine as well, so wasn't terrible. But yeah. Anyways, guys, thank you for joining me for the podcast today. See you guys, on Sunday for AEW Collision. So, next week is Wembley. Next week. So, the way I have it figured out, probably Monday or Tuesday. I'll have to figure it all out. But yeah, guys, we'll definitely have your Wembley review as well for next week or in 2 weeks, whichever. But yes, if you guys like this video though, leave a like and a thumbs up. Help out the video. Certainly help me out. But yeah. See you guys on Sunday though. I'm Angel to love. Peace. See you guys next time.